Hi there, I'm Michelle Frost, the host of the Fit Mind, Fit Body podcast. Welcome to the Delirious West series, where we follow everyday runners preparing for the Delirious West 100 and 200 mile events in April 2025. In today's update, we'll check in with one of our athletes to hear how their training is progressing, the challenges they're facing, and the victories that keep them moving forward. Whether you're training for your first ultra or simply enjoy inspiring stories, you're in the right place. Let's dive in and see how our athlete is doing this month. Today on Fit Mind, Fit Body, we are checking in with another one of our athletes for the serious, delirious, I was going to say gone nuts because that was last year's, but our serious, delirious athletes. Gabe Alves, how are you?
Hey, Michelle, I'm good. I'm
trying to come up with something really clever. I haven't worked it out yet. Because last year when I did Gone Nuts, it kind of, again, it's a pretty nutty name and we were all a bit nuts. And I suppose we're all a bit delirious doing delirious, but I'm trying to come up with something clever.
I've got a feeling as we get closer and closer, there's going to be this increased tension, as it's not this thing in the distant future. It's starting to loom. And it's not actually that far away. I mean,
Stop it.
For about 16 weeks or something. I don't know, just throwing a number.
That's a horrible number. I should ask ChatGTP. That's my friend. He tells me if things like that. Google used to, now ChatGTP. Now, but that's not what we're not here to talk about the tech and the things we could use to work out, apart from just a straight up calendar, how long it is between now and the start of the event. Gabe, how are you? Tell me what's going on.
Oh, I'm all right. I think my training hasn't been as good as I would have hoped.
Oh, tell me about that.
Well, I recovered really well from Delirious. I mean, really well. I had a little bit of soreness for a couple of days, but nothing major.
From 6-inch?
No, sorry. Feral. What am I talking about?
I was going to say, no, 6 inches come. Anyway, yes, from Feral. Sorry, yes.
Feral 100 miler, yep.
Got it.
So, yeah, recovered really well from that. Was running within a few days and then work just came in and has just been so insane.
Have you got one of those works where just before Christmas, well, you need to do at least 3 months worth of work because you're obviously going to have, it's almost like coming to the end of the year. There's that kind of, how much can you get done in December, really?
Yeah, and it's my company. So I have the challenge of our customers have had months and months and months to sort a whole range of things out. But, in the last month was Christmas. It's like all of a sudden it's like got the priority. Hey, can we get this done?
Before
and
Christmas.
It's great, but it's been just bedlam and been traveling. And then they have, there's all these sorts of events at this time of the year as well. So I've had a bunch of different speaking engagements and I've had to do some Anyway, the long and the short of it is that I've done nowhere near as much running as that I would have liked. So I haven't really got into my groove yet. But I've still managed to do some.
And then I look at what I've done and then I go, yeah, but you've also run in 100 event. So it's not like you've been doing nothing in the last few months. It's not like, this month is going to be your make or break month either. Like you've definitely done stuff up to this point, even if the last few weeks haven't been as productive as you might like.
It was funny. I got whether it was Strava or my Garmin or something or other, it gave me a notification. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. It said, you have averaged, I think it was like 12 kilometers a day for the last however long. And I went, what? How did that happen? And then it's just averaged the 100 miles from the event and it's pushed that over. So I've got some really good credit in my average daily runs or whatever it is that it was calculating. I was like, I'm not sure that's how it works, but okay, I'll take the win.
So how do you feel about it? Are you okay with that? Are you feeling a bit panicky? Or
no, not feeling panicky at all. I just feel like I should be doing a little bit more. I think, what I have done, because I know I haven't been able to get out there, I've made every run a barefoot run.
Oh, wow.
So it hurts.
Yeah.
So I might only be doing a 5K here and maybe 8Ks and occasional 10 or 14. But I've felt them from a pain perspective. So I don't feel terrible. I haven't done the miles, but I still feel every time I've done a run that I've beaten myself up a little bit, which can only make it a bit tougher. That's my brain logic there.
So for the first few decades of my running, I don't need to do strength work because I run up and down hills.
Yep.
So, and obviously I don't need to run like lots further because I'm doing really hard runs. So I don't need to. So you know how our brain, we tell that we
Yep.
very clever. We should all be lawyers, I think, runners. Sometimes we can have an argument for almost any way we've decided to train. So
We can justify anything, and that was part of the strategy. And that's I caught up with a friend of mine who's actually signed up to do Delirious. So it'll be the first time for him.
yes.
And I caught up with him just for a coffee. He said, "Oh, Gabe, can I just come and pick your brain a little bit for how it went?" And I was asking him how he was going with his training, and he's doing, I'm doing probably between 100 and 120 kilometers a week, and I'm thinking I'm going to increase that a bit. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm averaging between 20 and 30.
Well, you're probably doing more than me still. No, I don't do kilometers. My coach just sends me, okay, go out and hike for an hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever it is, or don't do your. I think I had to do hill repeats the other day, but
Yep.
it was 5 minutes. Like she basically sets me. I think because I'm old, she just sets me time things. It's like
Yep.
5 minutes up and 5 minutes down, multiplied by 5. So that was hard, but it felt hard.
Yeah.
But it's time.
Yep.
It's time and not distance. So I don't really know. Apart from park run, obviously that's only 5K. So I know what I did then.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm not worried about it though. I mean, I've got a whole 16, 17, something or other weeks to go. Like
Look at
it's
that. You got heaps of time.
yeah.
And your body, it's like we're talking about it today. Like I've obviously been running this morning with my friends that I go with each week on a Tuesday when we're recording this, and we were talking about how our bodies have this kind of muscle memory,
Yep.
and how or when that stops being a thing for you. You know, when you have to stop running for a while or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that is, or even if it is a thing in some ways, because like as in, you know, you could stop running and then start running again 10 years later. And yes, it might take you a while to get back to it, but eventually it's a bit like riding a bike. Your body does sort of fall into that pattern. Yours, I mean, it's not like you've even really stopped running. You just stopped running the amount of distance and you're not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've got
Yeah. So
heaps
it's not
of muscle memory going on.
yeah. It's funny when you say muscle memory because it makes me, I feel like I've got muscle memory for when things are supposed to hurt.
Oh,
I don't know if you get that, where if you run a certain distance and you go, if I get to 18Ks, that's when it should hurt.
I
And
have
so when you,
noticed I can do that. I try not to because then,
and it's like, I'm starting to look, and you look at your watch and you go, that's about right. It's about 18Ks. It's really starting to hurt now. But then
so
when I get to 25, it should slow down a little bit. Like, I don't know.
it's all in your head. And so maybe we should start saying, you know, positive, only think about, well, at 18Ks, I start to feel much better now. Until you convince yourself that you do. And if it's all in your head, then that's what might happen, maybe.
Well, I think I just have to keep focusing on that. Just doing the head work. Because if I'm not getting the training done, then
It's all going to be in your
I
head.
should be working on something. Oh,
So,
look, I mean,
yeah.
admittedly, because I haven't been out there, I have spent a bit of time thinking about, okay, what do I need to prepare for? Like, what do I need to do? What are the things in my body that I know that go wrong, and how do I fix it, sort of thing. And so I was doing a little bit of research on blisters and bits and pieces the other day. Not that blisters are a major problem for me, but I get them in the same spot each time, and they're not major.
Yeah.
But I thought if I can remove that, or at least reduce that. So I've done a little bit of research on that, and I've got a few things that I want to try.
What did you find out? Don't keep it to yourself.
Well, there was it was a YouTube video that I watched the other day that gave me a good idea, which there's a coach over here in WA, Rob Donkerslot,
Mhm.
I think I said his name right.
I've interviewed Rob.
Right. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
been on
And
he's on the podcast.
and you had a lady on there who was a podiatrist and really focuses on blister. And it's just as recent. This is in the last week or two. He's put it up. And yeah, one of the types of blisters that she was describing, I'm like, yeah, that's mine exactly.
Oh wow.
And I can feel how how it forms and where it forms and stuff like that. So there was this like little pad. I think it was like an Onga pad or Onga something. I can't remember the name of it. So I'm going to try that. I got some of those. I'm going to put in my shoe and just see whether that helps. I'll do some longer runs because I can tell when it's starting to pressure on that part of my foot.
Yeah.
It's just on the outer part of my heels.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that if that solves that problem, then that's really
awesome.
like the only spot that I've got an issue with.
That's so good.
So there's been some production, some productivity, I should say.
Love it. I actually, now you think about it, I should really get some of that wool stuff. I've been hearing about it a lot. When we went hiking in New Zealand, that's when we first saw it last year, and then I've heard runners talk about it a bit now.
Like for blisters, like between your toes or something.
Yeah, I thought I should probably have a look at that and investigate. I haven't done any research on it at all, but I thought that might be worth having a look at.
I just use toe socks. I just use the wool toe socks.
So which ones? I've got creepers.
I use the creepers
from New Zealand. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I haven't done long run on it with them yet, though. Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was, but I find the creepers they seem to be a bit more, certainly from a smell perspective and durability during a race. They last longer. The Injinjis tend to get a bit nasty a bit quicker. That's just my experience. Maybe it's just my feet, but definitely I think the wool makes a big difference.
Having come back just from a 6-day hike here in Tassie.
Oh, that's right.
That was something that it's like because we've got feet wet, which is probably not a surprise in Tasmania. I did have a number of pairs of socks to change, except I was feeling sorry for the socks because it actually was the shoes that started to smell by sort of day 4. And it's like now I'm putting fresh socks into these smelly shoes. Anyway, finding solutions for all of that would be great. Smelly.
Yeah, though not that smell is really a priority.
No.
On a race like this, it's like, everyone can deal with it. Everyone smells amazing.
That's awesome. Maybe there's a product in that. How do you make ultra runners after day 2 or 3 smell better?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything strong enough.
That's right, and who cares? Which is the other thing.
Yeah, or no one cares.
That's right. Mind you, it might be someone at an aid station who comes up with that because they have to put up with us at the other end in the aid stations.
Honestly, the stuff that they put up with. And I find the most amazing people are I call them the foot doctors, right? And there's a few amazing ones who support Ultra Series, the ones that patch everybody's feet up at the different aid stations. And
wow,
I personally think I couldn't think of anything worse.
And playing with a bunch of smelly feet.
Smelly, wrecked, destroyed, broken feet. And they're
toenails
and cleaning them up and strapping them up and sending people back out again. Oh, what a job. Ugh.
Gross. You make it sound so attractive. What do you plan to get over the rest of December and through into Christmas? Right. What's your plan? Come on.
Well, this is my last week officially of work, though, because I work for myself. Work doesn't actually stop.
I understand that.
We're going away with family. We're camping down the south coast at Walpole. So we'll be down there for a couple of weeks, sort of up to and over Christmas.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to just being down there at the beach and getting up each morning and go for a run and go for a swim and just try to get into a bit of a routine, not to do crazy distances, but just to get into like a daily routine of doing a run and maybe 5 or 10 Ks, and then just kind of unwind a bit from the year.
Yeah.
And I think I'll probably spend, not to do anything major, I'll leave that till I get back, I think. I'll sort of do the rest of December to just keep things ticking along and do a lot of thinking, I reckon, and then plan what do I want to do in January and February, because I think January and February will be the big months of putting in some decent miles and really hard work.
Yeah.
And then it's only 6 weeks to the event after that. So
stop it. I looked ahead at my plan, and January, February is looking busy when it comes to there's no weekends available for anything else.
Well, I find as I get closer, the reality hits me a bit stronger. It's like, okay, I really need to do some stuff.
Yeah.
I really need to go out and do some training. And I think if I start that too soon, and I like to think of it this way, I peak too soon.
Yeah, we don't want that.
And I don't want that. You got to make sure that you don't want to peak too soon and you come off and then you're too relaxed. Yeah.
I love it.
But I think January and February will be
that'll be you big. I remember I can remember my first couple of marathons many, many years ago, and I was so precious about even stepping off a curb in those last few months of
I just worried about doing an injury.
Yeah, I was like, didn't want to injure myself. Certainly didn't want to be near anybody with a cold or anything like that. I was like,
I get a bit that way.
I was very precious.
Somebody pops in a meeting, and I'm like,
can we do this on Zoom? You like that too? Then that's good. It's not just me.
Definitely in the weeks leading up to it. I've had 2 races that I liked. They weren't ruined, but they certainly affected my performance significantly off COVID. I had COVID 6 weeks before 2 events.
Yeah.
And it's just annoying. And so, and there's nothing worse than you do all that time and effort. So normally at work, certainly for the sort of the 2 weeks leading up to an event, like I just tell everybody, I'm going to work from home and I'm not going to meet anybody. I'm going to push it all off. I'll do everything on the Zoom. I just try and be a hermit and just stay away from as many people as possible. Just to just increase my chances of not catching something in the last minute.
It's funny, isn't it? I guess, as you said, we put so much effort into it. Why would you put yourself in, a place of potential risk that you might not be able to complete? Yeah.
I mean, it's a big. I like to think it the same way for holidays. You put a lot of time or investment and whatever else. And I had a habit years and years ago. I used to work extremely, do crazy hours. And I'm talking like 70, 80 hours a week, like all through the year. And I'd never get sick. And then the moment I'd go on holidays for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the first day I'd just get wiped out and I'd be sick for half the holiday.
Yeah.
And it's
almost like you stop, don't you?
Yeah. And then the body goes, okay, I can relax now. And everything just goes crash.
Yeah. I think there's a few people who can relate to that. That's
yeah, I don't do that anymore though.
Good.
That sort of hours is ridiculous.
That's so silly. For me, it works. I've had that happen as well, but also that I love planning holidays. I almost get as much excitement out of organising things and getting sort of planned. I get quite worn out by it sometimes because I get very excited about it and there's always lots to do. And then the actual event happens and it's like, oh, I'm really tired now. And then you get sick.
It's all done. And then,
that's right.
Yep.
I'm sick now. The events happen and I spend all this time planning for it and now I can't enjoy it properly because I'm not feeling
good. That's right. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, we haven't
talked a lot about running, have we?
Running? Oh, yeah. Well, running is not. This is like running for us or running for everyone, I think, should be. It's not one thing. It's not just a single thing away from the rest of your life. It's like it's very holistic. Running is part of life, and all these things affect our running, and I think vice versa. Our running affects all those other things as well.
Yeah, and I think ultra running is this. I'm sure you've probably seen it. There's a meme that my wife showed me the other day, and she goes, "Yeah, that sums it up." And it had different runners, and it had 5K, 10K. 21K marathon and then an ultra runner, and had these body types of various fitness levels.
Yeah,
with the fit, strong, muscly, ripped, and then the ultra runner is like, big pot belly guy with a burger in his hand, and she's like, yeah, that. I feel like that's right
because it's a moving picnic. Ask Big Kev. It's just a moving picnic. All we care about is like moving between one food station and the next.
Well, it is interesting. I watched a podcast on YouTube the other day with a runner who did some crazy result at Leadville or something like that. And anyway, there was a comment that he said which was true, but I hadn't really thought of it that way before, where in ultra running, you're never really doing that intense running. So for your training, you never really have to do the really crazy intensity because you're never going to run
I'm
like
going
that.
to tell my coach that.
I think it's good for all your like VO2 max and everything else. I don't think it's bad, but it's almost like if you're training for what the activity you're going to do, there's a logic of going, well, yeah, you don't need to go and do sprints or anything like that. And I can't do that anyway because I've got an old injury on my foot that every time I try to run fast, it just pops again. Oh. So I've got a great excuse to I don't
take
sprint.
It easy.
Because otherwise my ankle goes and then I have to wait for a few weeks for it to get better again. So
I don't sprint so that I can run for days and days and days.
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
That sounds a perfect excuse to me. I love it. All right, Gabe, is there anything about your, how you're going to manage the next, which is a kind of a tricky time, like when you talked about going camping and trying to run regularly then, but just without any long distances, anything that you're planning to manage it? Because it is a tricky time and there'll be things thrown at you you're not thinking about now, or even ways you'll feel, in the middle of the Christmas period.
I think for the next month, I'm just going to take it easy is the wrong word. I'm going to try to be consistent and just get out there as often as I can and not beat myself up if I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, where I'm staying is right on the Bibbulmun track anyway. It's right on the course.
That's amazing.
So we're staying at the same town where the 140-kilometre sleep station is at Walpole there.
Yeah.
So it's a good excuse because I'm down there to just do a bit of running on the actual track as well.
Yeah.
So I'll do a bit of that and try to just put my mind back into when I was running on it earlier this year and see how it makes me feel.
And find a positive streak in there.
Go do a little bit of exploring. Go, I remember how I was when I walked through this point. I think I can just be consistently comfortable over the next month, and then psych myself up for a tough January and February. I think I'll be fine.
That sounds awesome. Well, it sounds like you're in a good place. I like that you're doing your taper now. That's good. You won't need as much taper at the other end.
Well, there's not a rule for when you taper, is there?
That's true. I don't know who made that up. That's ridiculous. I love it. You have a very Merry Christmas, and we will see you in January. I'm looking forward to talking to you then and see how you went having a little train out there on the actual trail. That'll be fascinating. And then we'll get stuck into what will be very close then, and the new year in January.
It'll be getting very real then.
It will. Can't wait. Exciting. All right. Thanks for sharing with us, Gabe. It's been awesome.
Yep, no worries. Good to talk to you.
And that's a wrap for another Delirious West athlete update. A huge thank you to the athletes for sharing their journeys, and to you, our listeners, for joining us on this delirious adventure. Remember, it's not just about the finish line. It's about the journey, the community, and the moments that keep us moving forward. Keep rooting for our runners and tune in for next month's check-ins to see how their training is unfolding. If you're enjoying this series, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a review and share the podcast with your friends. Let's all get a little delirious together. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode or an update. Connect with us on the website, on Facebook, or on Instagram. And we'd love to hear your stories and support you on your running journey. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your limits. Until next time.